Moscow, 1967. Bridge across Moscow River, midnight. The sky is the color of heavy lead. The wind cuts the face like a razor dipped in ice. Bruce Lee in Moscow for series of martial arts demonstrations invited by a group of Soviet instructors who heard about him philosophy of combat and wanted to see it with their own eyes. Make sure if it's true or just a beautifully packaged Oriental legend. During the day he teaches, at night he wanders the city one, as always done in every place wherever he found himself. He likes to go for walks in the early morning, loves the silence of sleeping cities, loves think without noise, likes to feel the heaviness new places under his own feet. He in the middle of the bridge when three people appear, and they don't come with a warning, they don't come to negotiate, they come with the intention of throwing him into the Bruce River. I noticed them 40 meters away, leaning against to the railings, smoking, with people's shoulders who are waiting for something and not just they are resting. He recorded every detail. The way the three instinctively lined up triangle, like cigarettes they behaved too casually, as if props not a habit. Absence the conversation between them is precisely that silence which happens to people who are focused on target. He noticed everything but did not change his step, did not cross to the other side. Walk straight because running away from shadows is not to live, is just to survive in fear. And Bruce Lee decided long ago that he couldn't live like that. There will be. The largest one is called Dmitry, 26 years old, 92 meters tall, 110 kilograms of muscle, built in 6 years Olympic wrestling, until a knee injury didn't destroy the dream of a medal. Now works in the port, carries boxes weighing bad memories, drinks vodka in the remaining nights and sometimes with the right one's friends, and the wrong alcohol turns empty bridges into traps for random passers-by. This is not calculated cruelty. It's boredom mixed with resentment, mixed with constant, a gnawing feeling that peace be upon him, I owe something that I never got around to pay. Dmitry is not a monster. This a man who lost his way and found it bad short roads to cope with this loss. The other two are smaller, younger, with the eyes of youth, which I haven't yet learned that following is a choice, not an obligation. The type of people who will never start anything in alone but become truly dangerous in a group because the group removes the need for personal courage. In a group, responsibility is blurred. It's easier for a group to do what individual conscience would never agreed. Dmitry steps into the center bridge when there are 5 left to Bruce, blocks the path with his whole body, hands slightly divorced posture of a person accustomed to use growth as the first argument. Speaks Russian. Words that Bruce understands not completely but enough. Some things don't need translation. Intonation is universal. The pose is universal. A smile that doesn't smile. That same smile of a predator confident that he had found easy prey. Universally applicable to any language in the world. Bruce stops at 3mh, does not retreat, does not comes, just stops. It was as if I had come to a familiar place and now he's just getting his bearings. He's looking at Dmitry without haste, without visible anger, without fear that Dmitry clearly came search. A man who reached the end, walking and calmly deciding what to do further. Dmitry says something that the other two think it's funny. Points out down to the river, black and cold water at 6 meters. The gesture is clear even without a dictionary. Dmitry wants Bruce to understand exactly what he can do happen. Wants to see recognition, danger. Wants to see real fear in the eyes of this small and lonely man who dared to walk at night, territory that Dmitry considers his own. Bruce looks at the river, looks back to Dmitry speaking English with such a calm intonation that she almost sounds like indifference. And the water, it's cold today. Dmitry doesn't understand words but understands the tone. Otherwise he totally wrong. Should be horror, there should be a plea, and this meteorological observation. It's infuriating. Dmitry, as he cannot call but feels, jaw involuntarily shrinks, shoulders rise half a centimeter. Behind the eyes it starts burn when the ego is infringed, not even raising his voice. He advances. The other two move at the same time to get around flanks, one on the left, one on the right. Instinctive tactics of those who have already done it, it's on similar nights. Surround, intimidate, overwhelm with numbers, reduce space to such an extent that the only way out is to surrender. Dmitry stretches out his hands, huge palms like shovels, with the intention of grabbing Bruce by the shoulders, and just throw it over the railing like throw away a bag of garbage. 61 kilograms, a man against the Moscow wind and black water 6 below. What happens in the next 4 seconds contradicts everything that Dmitry learned about how the world works. The first second, Dimitri's hands reach Bruce's shoulders, but the shoulders are gone. Bruce turns 45 degrees to the left with a movement so small and precise that it seems almost polite, as if he just stepped aside to let him pass. All of Dimitri's strength, all of that power thrown forward with 100% confidence, 110 kilograms behind the back meets emptiness. The huge body stumbles slightly its own weight. At the same moment, the right Bruce's forearm rises and meets Dimitri's elbow from below in a very specific, the anatomical point where the ulnar nerve passes close to the surface, where sufficient pressure converts force into instantaneous involuntary electrical shock. Dimitri's hand opens completely, not because he decided to open, because the nervous system, I just didn't ask his opinion. The second one a second. The man on the left is already moving. Hands are spread out for grabbing. Bruce is not retreats, does exactly the opposite. Enters, reduces the distance to 0. It is there where hugs lose all their strength. When the hands reach, Bruce is already inside them, too close to him, could be grasped firmly. Enough close so that the left elbow is short and rose in a controlled manner and met collarbone with enough weight to the man's nervous system, understood that it was necessary. Stop everything he is doing immediately does. The man stops, not falls, but freezes completely, as if mechanism whose operation was interrupted in at a perfectly precise point. Third second. The third man hesitates. This hesitation human and completely understandable. He saw the largest of the three lost his balance in less than second, and the second was paralyzed in the next second. And even the brain, who came here to do bad things, at some level it retains instinct self-preservation. The hesitation lasts exactly 1 second. Bruce uses this second entirely not for attacks, to look straight in the eyes a man, find his gaze and say one thing, the only Russian word, one of the few that I learned in a week. No, not like a military order, like a real one, a question as a calm invitation. Reconsider the decision that is still possible. Cancel. The man takes 2 steps back. Fourth second. Dimitri already recovered enough to turn around. And what was a performance intimidation is now becoming real intention. He attacks seriously without viewers who need to be impressed with the pure rage of a man who will touch in a way he doesn't understand. Right, the fist flies straight. The blow of a man which has real power built over the years, and he knows for sure how to convey it. Bruce does not go into side, goes inside into the line itself. Blow, and the fist passes within a millimeter of faces while the body turns, and the hand Bruce meets Dimitri's wrist in full motion, not for grabbing, not for block, but only for redirection. Take an already existing force vector with all invested energy, and just change delivery address. Own impulse. Dimitri carries him forward, having lost balance. And Bruce's foot is already low there, right behind Dimitri's ankle at that point, where his balance and loss of balance separated by millimeters, and solutions taken less than a second ago. 110 kilograms meet the stone floor of the bridge. Sound heavy, final, and absolutely silent, and all that is real. It's important. Dimitri lies there for a moment which seems much longer than it is. Breathes, be careful. Every breath is like inventory of what still works. Blinks into the dark Moscow sky. Makes sense of the distance between where he is expected to be now and where I found myself actually. The other two are standing motionless, each in his place on the bridge. None of them had any money left, the slightest desire to continue what they started at night, which already seems to be another world. Bruce is not in combat stand, just standing. Hands relaxed, lowered, breathing calm and even. That same person who 2 minutes ago I was just walking around for the last 4 seconds were just a short break in the walk, a minor deviation from the route already decided. He looks at Dimitri, the earth without triumph on the face, without anger, with something strangely similar to recognition, as if he sees something in Dimitri that understands better than Dimitri himself can imagine. Dimitri slowly rises. Dignity is destroyed so that it will take time for this to happen, realize, and even more time to accept. He stands and looks at Bruce, tries to find strength in all his experiences, at least some power and dominance category for what just happened. Doesn't find. Bruce points to himself, points at Dimitri, does slow universal gesture of a teacher. Hands show movement, faces open. This is a proposal that overcomes any language barrier because made in the most ancient language, the language respect offered where it is due. We didn't expect it at all. Dimitri looks at gesture, looks at friends, looks for a long time back to Bruce. Something is changing. Bruce continues walking, does not run, does not looks around anxiously. Just walks like that, the same as before. The Moscow wind in face. The city sleeps on both sides of the river. The dark water below reflects nothing. Dimitri stands in the center of the bridge for a very long time, long after Bruce disappears into in the dark. Thinks about how a person weighs at 61 kilograms. He took apart everything he believed in authorities in less time than required to a bad decision. Thinks that there is something he doesn't know and what it is. Ignorance until today seemed too convenient to be put under question. Now it doesn't seem so any more convenient. For seconds to knock down the body, a whole life to overthrow a conviction. But sometimes the body falls first hard and inevitably onto the cold stone, and conviction comes later silently when you lie and look at the sky, which is all. It doesn't matter what your version of what is means to be strong. The question that it's not about Brussels, it's never been about him. Question: what do you do when the earth meets you again? And you understand that the world is much wider and much more demanding than your version of him. Do you remain lying down defending the illusion, or do you get up and finally decide to study?